Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Data Playbook. So now that we're past the Sunday games for Week 10 here, we're going to look into Sunday Night Football with Pittsburgh going to LA to face off against the Chargers. So looking into this game, we have the Chargers favored on the money line with a spread of 3 points and a total line of 45.5 points. I'll switch over to the averages. Looking into the Steelers rankings, you kind of have a bunch of mixed ones, some really bad ones. They're the worst in the league at allowing passing by any team. They're okay at scoring, but not very good at stopping scoring. Their passing rank's not great, their rushing rank's not great, but they do like to utilize their tight ends. However, they're very bad at stopping them too. And their defensive rushing rank's okay, about average. If we look at the Chargers, you have about an average ranking for the scoring. They are the best in the league at passing, and pretty good at rushing. Top third across the board, basically offensively, other than their scoring. And defensively, they're really good at stopping the pass, which includes tight ends, and about average at stopping the rush. Looking at the quarterbacks, you have Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert. Rodgers averaging 16.2 fantasy points per game this season, while Justin Herbert's averaging 20.9. Aaron Rodgers has 5 passing interceptions this season, with no other turnovers, and Justin Herbert has 8 passing interceptions this season, with 1 other rushing fumble. And then I'll swap their numbers to the averages. And then to look at the rushing carry share to see how they impact the game. You have Aaron Rodgers with 1.6 carries, which probably comes out to be about 7 or 8% of the team's total carry share. Over here with Justin Herbert, you have 5.1 average carries per game. That comes out for about 20.4% of the team's total rushing carry share. Looking at the running backs, you have Jalen Warren and Kamini Vidal. Warren averaging 14.1 fantasy points per game this season, and Vidal averaging 9.3. With no other turnovers, we'll look at the averages, as well as that Warren gets 55.3 of his team's rushing carry share, with a little bit more, 29% going to Kenneth Gainwell. So that's how they split the carries in Pittsburgh. For the Chargers, you have Vidal having about 29.3% of the team's total carries now. You've had a lot of injuries and people being rotated in, so that's why you get a lot of different numbers here, and that's why there's not a strong winner of the most carries right now. And then looking at the number 1 receivers, you have DK Metcalf and Ladd McConkey. Metcalf with 13.2 average fantasy points per game this season, and McConkey right with him with 13. Neither receiver has given up any turnovers. And then if we look at their receiving share, you have DK Metcalf with 27.5% of the team's total receiving yards. And with LA, you have McConkey with 21.5% of the team's total receiving share. This is now the largest one for McConkey. He had a slow start, especially with Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen. But now he started to come up and is almost about the largest share of total receiving yards. Speaking of the other receivers, let's look at the number 2 ones with Calvin Austin and Keenan Allen. Austin averages 8.9 fantasy points per game, and Keenan Allen averaging 14. With no turnovers, we'll go straight to the averages, and then look at their receiving share, with Calvin Austin having 13.1% of the team's total receiving share, and Keenan Allen with 21.4% of the team's total receiving share, which really does put him right in second now. And then wrapping up with tight ends, you have Jonnu Smith and Oronde Gadsden. Smith averages 6.7 fantasy points per game, while Gadsden averages 12.5. Also, Gadsden's had 1 turnover this season. And of course, dropping through all the data to look at the error share here, you have Jonnu Smith with probably about 6 or 7% as well, maybe a little bit more with 8% of the team's total receiving share. That is to note that there's been a lot spread out all over the place, so Aaron Rodgers doesn't really matter who's out there. He'll throw to anybody who can catch it. And over on LA, you have Gadsden with 18.6% of the team's total receiving share, putting him about that 4th spot as you would expect, with all top 3 receivers and then the tight end. With all of that, looking at the numbers in this game, it looks very strongly like the Chargers should win this game, especially with this number 1 passing rank going against the worst team in the league at stopping passing, and then this allowed passing rank of 5 with Pittsburgh with a passing rank of 20. So those don't match up very well for Pittsburgh there. I think the big thing would be if Pittsburgh can really stop them from scoring, then they might have a chance, but this looks like they should be able to pass all over them, as well as having better statistics for their scoring, so it would seem like this should be the Chargers game. So there you have the pregame review for Sunday Night Football. I hope that it was interesting and you got something out of it. And if you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what else you might want to see in the future. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for Monday Night Football.